Have you ever shared something personal with someone, only to watch it come back to hurt you? Meet Sarah Chen, a 28-year-old graphic designer living in Seattle. She was the kind of person everyone loved to be around, warm, open, always willing to share her dreams, her fears, her next big idea. She believed that being transparent was the same as being authentic. That sharing everything made her genuine, real. For 3 years, she poured her heart out to friends, colleagues, even casual acquaintances. She thought this openness would bring her closer to people. She was wrong. By the end of the story, you'll understand why silence is sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer, and why protecting your inner world isn't being secretive, it's being wise. Sarah's mornings always started the same way. Coffee at her favorite cafe, sketching designs in her notebook, talking to anyone who would listen about her latest creative vision. "I'm working on a new branding concept," she told Marcus, a designer from a competing agency she'd met at a networking event. "It's this minimalist approach with hand-drawn elements. I think it could really change how local businesses think about their identity." Marcus smiled. He listened. He asked questions. Sarah felt seen, valued. At work, she was the same way. When her manager asked about project ideas during team meetings, Sarah shared everything. Every concept, every angle, every late-night revelation she'd had about improving their client presentations. "You're so generous with your thinking," her colleague Jennifer said one afternoon. Sarah beamed. She thought generosity was her strength. But then something started happening. Small things at first. The branding concept she'd excitedly described to Marcus. 3 weeks later, she saw it on his agency's Instagram page. Same aesthetic, same hand-drawn elements, same philosophy she'd explained in detail. Her stomach dropped. "Maybe it's just a coincidence," she told herself. "Great minds think alike, right?" Then, during a presentation to a major client, her manager introduced a fresh approach that sounded word for word like the idea Sarah had shared in their team meeting. But it wasn't credited to her. It was presented as the company's collective vision. Sarah sat in that conference room, watching her words come out of someone else's mouth, and said nothing. Little did Sarah know, this pattern would cost her far more than just recognition. The real breaking point came 6 months later. Sarah had been working on something personal, a passion project. She wanted to launch her own freelance design studio. She'd spent months developing her business model, her unique approach, even her pricing strategy. And she'd shared every detail with her close friend group, especially with Nicole, her friend of 5 years, someone she trusted completely. "I'm calling it honest design," Sarah explained over dinner one evening. "The whole concept is transparent pricing, collaborative process, showing clients every step. No industry secrets, just pure authenticity." Nicole nodded enthusiastically. "That's beautiful, Sarah. Really, you should definitely do this." Sarah felt supported, encouraged. She shared her timeline, her target clients, even the specific businesses she planned to approach first. 2 months passed. Sarah was putting the final touches on her website when a mutual friend sent her a message. "Hey, did you see Nicole's new venture? Looks amazing." The link took her to an Instagram page. The business name, Transparent Studios. The concept, transparent pricing, collaborative design process, showing clients every step. Sarah scrolled through the posts, her hands shaking. There were even testimonials from businesses, the exact same businesses Sarah had mentioned wanting to approach. Her own ideas, her own words, her own dream, packaged and launched by someone she'd called her friend. She sat in her apartment that night, staring at her own unfinished website, and something inside her shifted. Not just hurt, not just anger, realization. Have you ever felt this kind of betrayal? When the person you trusted most becomes the one who takes what's yours. Sarah had always believed that openness equaled connection, that sharing everything meant living without walls. But now, looking at the ruins of her trust, she understood something different. Not everyone who listens is your friend. Not everyone who asks deserves an answer. The next week, Sarah met her Aunt Linda for coffee. Linda was a retired professor, quiet, private, someone who'd always seemed to move through life with an unusual sense of calm. Sarah broke down. She told her everything. Linda listened without interrupting. When Sarah finally finished, exhausted from crying, her aunt said something unexpected. "Do you know why bamboo is so strong?" Sarah blinked, confused by the question. "Bamboo grows with hollow sections," Linda continued. "It keeps empty spaces inside itself. That emptiness is what makes it flexible, unbreakable. If it was solid all the way through, it would snap under pressure." She leaned forward. "People are the same, Sarah. You need empty spaces, private places that belong only to you. Not because you're hiding, but because some things are too valuable to expose to everyone." Sarah sat with those words. "But isn't that being fake?" she asked quietly. "Isn't authenticity about being open?" "Authenticity is about being true," Linda said, "not being available. There's a difference between lying and having boundaries, between being real and being unprotected." She paused, then added, "A seed doesn't announce itself while it's growing underground. It stays hidden, quiet, gathering strength. Only when it's ready does it break through the surface. Your dreams deserve the same protection." Something in Sarah's chest loosened. For the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe. But changing a lifelong pattern wouldn't be easy. The following Monday, Sarah went back to work with a new resolve. During the team meeting, when her manager asked for ideas, Sarah felt the familiar urge to share everything, to prove her value through her transparency. Instead, she said, "I'm working on a few concepts. Let me develop them further, and I'll present the strongest one next week." It felt wrong, like she was holding back, being dishonest somehow. But she held firm. That week, she worked on her designs privately. She didn't mention them to colleagues by the coffee machine, didn't post cryptic hints on social media, didn't seek validation through sneak peeks. When she finally presented her concept the following Monday, it was polished, complete, undeniably hers. Her manager approved it immediately. And this time, Sarah's name was attached to the project from the beginning. Small victory, but it felt significant. The harder part was her personal life. Sarah had to learn a new way of being with people. When friends asked what she was working on, she practiced saying, "Just exploring some ideas. I'll share when it's ready." Some friends respected it. Others pushed back. "Why are you being so mysterious?" one acquaintance asked, almost offended. Sarah felt the guilt rise. The old programming told her she was being distant, unfriendly, fake. But then she remembered the bamboo, the seed, the empty spaces that create strength. "I'm not being mysterious," she said gently. "I'm just learning to protect what matters to me." It wasn't easy. She had moments of doubt, times when she wanted to text someone about her new business idea, her creative breakthrough, her vulnerable moment. But she paused. She asked herself a new question. Does this person need to know this? Or do I just need to feel seen? Most of the time, it was the latter. So instead of seeking external validation, Sarah started keeping a private journal. She poured her dreams, her fears, her ideas onto those pages. She gave herself the witness she'd been seeking from others. Weeks passed, then months. And then, after 6 months of working in silence, something remarkable happened. Sarah launched her design studio. Not the concept Nicole had stolen, something different, something better. An idea she developed entirely in private, sharing only with a carefully chosen mentor and a business consultant she'd hired. The launch was small, intentional. She didn't announce it to everyone she knew. She reached out to specific potential clients with personalized proposals. Within 3 weeks, she had her first 3 projects. Within 2 months, she was fully booked. The business grew not because everyone knew about it, but because the right people did. A year after that painful night, when she discovered Nicole's betrayal, Sarah sat in her own studio space, a small, sunlit office with her designs covering the walls. She thought about the person she used to be, the woman who shared everything, seeking approval in every conversation, who believed that being open meant being loved. That version of Sarah wasn't wrong. She was just unprotected. Now, Sarah had friends she trusted deeply, but they were few. She shared parts of her life selectively, with people who'd earned that access through consistency, through reciprocity, through respect. She posted on social media occasionally, but never her next move, never her vulnerable moments, never her dreams while they were still forming. Those sacred things belonged to her now. She'd learned that privacy wasn't the same as loneliness. Boundaries weren't the same as walls. And silence about your plans wasn't insecurity. It was strategy. The people who truly mattered didn't need constant updates. They celebrated her wins when they happened, not because they'd been tracking every step. Nicole. Sarah had never confronted her. She simply let that friendship dissolve quietly. Some betrayals don't deserve your energy. Some people don't deserve your closure. The lesson wasn't about becoming cold or closed off. It was about understanding that your inner world, your dreams, your struggles, your next chapter, is precious. It deserves protection. Not everyone has the wisdom to handle what you share. Not everyone has pure intentions. And that's not cynicism. That's discernment. Sarah learned to move like bamboo. Strong because of the spaces she kept empty. Flexible because she wasn't weighed down by everyone's opinions. Unbreakable because her foundation was internal, not dependent on external validation. She learned that the right people don't need to know everything to love you, and the wrong people will use everything you share. This story reminds us that wisdom isn't just about what you say. It's about what you choose to keep to yourself. Just like Sarah, you might be someone who shares freely, who believes that openness is the path to connection, and there's beauty in that instinct. But consider this, your dreams are seeds. They need darkness before they can grow. Your struggles are yours to process first, before they become stories to share. Your next move doesn't need an announcement. It needs focus. The next time you feel the urge to share something important, pause. Ask yourself, does this person need to know this? Or do I need to feel seen? Because the strongest version of you isn't the one everyone knows everything about. It's the one who knows the power of silence. The one who protects what matters. The one who understands that not sharing everything isn't hiding. It's wisdom. And that wisdom might be exactly what changes everything for you.